Summertime is a great time to explore Canada, and I have recently come back from a relaxing trip to beautiful Nova Scotia. Now, when I go out to different parts of Canada, I get very curious about what's going on in their puzzle community and what type of puzzles are out there available for purchase. So in this video today, I will share with you what I found out in Nova Scotia, Canada. Hey puzzling friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Sandra, the Puzzling Canadian. Well, recently I took a trip out to the lovely province of Nova Scotia, and I've been there before, and I really do enjoy going out to the maritime provinces. The fresh ocean air, I just love being by the ocean. So I went back and I stayed at the South Shore area, which is not far from Peggy's Cove, just to relax and to enjoy the beach. But when I usually go on vacation, I tend to bring a small piece count puzzle so that if I have the urge to work on one, I have one available. But this time I decided I'm not going to bring any puzzles. I'm going to go out and see what's available in the area that I'm in, maybe go to some thrift stores to see if I can find some puzzles to work on. So that is what I ended up doing. And I managed to end up going to 3 thrift stores while I was there. So I ended up visiting the Value Village in Bedford, Nova Scotia, and then I also went to Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, and then the last one I visited was one in Halifax, a Value Village that was there. I'm going to show you some of the puzzles that I ended up seeing while I was shopping at these stores, and then later I'll let you know which ones I ended up purchasing. Well, there you have it. That was my thrifting experience out in Nova Scotia. And I have to say, I was very impressed with the selection that I found, especially in that store out in Halifax, the very last one. They had a lot of puzzles. So there was a lot of beautiful images and a variety of brands. And I liked a lot of them, but because I traveled there by plane, I was limited to how many puzzles I can bring back with me. So the first location was the Bedford location, and that was on day one. We landed and I had to wait for check-in. So I decided to go with my family to get something to eat, and then we stopped in at the Value Village there. And I ended up getting 3 puzzles from that location. The first was a Gibson puzzle called Waiting for Supper, and 500 pieces, Dominic Davison. Now I don't have it here because I decided to work on it at the cottage. And I took my time. I didn't want to do any speed puzzling. I just want to enjoy this puzzle while on vacation. So I started opening up the box, and I realized that it wasn't even open. The plastic was not torn. So this was a brand new puzzle, and the pieces were glossy, which I was quite surprised because I have done a Gibson puzzle before, and it wasn't glossy, it was matte. So I'm not sure how old this puzzle is, but they had glossy pieces. And it was a very enjoyable puzzle to do. I've done many Dominic Davison puzzles before, and I ended up finishing it there and left it there so that other guests at that cottage can work on a puzzle if they wanted to. The next puzzle that I ended up picking up was a 100-piece puzzle. I thought this one would be good for just doing some speed practice. So it was the one that was the puppy picnic, and I picked that one specifically because that one was also brand new. It's a very cute image. Really like doing that one. And again, I left it there for future guests. And the third puzzle that I ended up getting was this one right here. This is a Falcon Deluxe puzzle called Brighton Pier. It's 1,000 pieces, and the artist is Victor McLinden. And I like Falcon. I've done them before. Nice sturdy pieces. And this image just, I was down by the ocean, and this has an ocean setting also. So I wanted to end up picking this up, but I didn't want to leave it, like work on it while I was there. I wanted to keep this one. So I brought this one back with me. Now, the second location was in Bridgewater, and we were there for, I think we were going there for a lunch or a dinner at the time, and I stopped in at the Value Village. And I enjoyed the puzzles that they had there, but there was one that stood out, and it was this Ravensburger one. This one here is called Life on the Canals, 1,000 pieces, Alan King. It is a 2001 puzzle. I can tell right away because I haven't seen this image before, so I knew it was probably a very old puzzle. So I ended up bringing that one home with me. I was very happy to find this. So the last location was Halifax, and we were there for dinner, but beforehand we stopped off at the Value Village, and wow, were there a lot of puzzles to go through. So many different brands. I was just impressed by how much they had there, and I ended up seeing a lot of beautiful ones, but because I was limited in space, I had to be very selective what I ended up picking, and I didn't want to take up too much space. But there was one image that stood out to me, and it was a Ravensburger puzzle, and I could tell right away it was a old puzzle, and it was this one right here. This one is called Children's Street Market. It's only 80 pieces, but I thought I can use this for a speed puzzle practice. And when I looked at the side of the box, it was a 1979 puzzle. And what stood out to me, let me just see if I could see it here, is it said Ravensburger is made in Germany, but this one says it was made in West Germany. And I decided I need to take this puzzle with me home because while I was on vacation, I was reading a book called The Berlin Apartments. And it's part of one of my challenges for the summer, which is a challenge called Inspired by Books Challenge. And when I saw that West Germany, it just reminded me of this story because it is about a couple who were divided by the Berlin Wall and talking all about everything that was happening at the time when they were divided West and East Berlin. I did notice there out in Nova Scotia at all 3 of them, the prices were pretty reasonable. They're pretty consistent. They're either $4.99 or $5.99. I really didn't see anything that was more than $5.99. Which is different here. When I go to a Value Village, it's just the prices are all over the place. So they were consistent in their pricing throughout the province of Nova Scotia. And maybe if you live in Nova Scotia, maybe you can let me know if that is true, or if maybe it's just when I visited this time around, that's the case. So that is my puzzling adventure out in Nova Scotia and all the puzzles that I brought back with me. Let me know if there were some puzzles in that video clip that you liked and you would have picked out if you were traveling in Nova Scotia, or perhaps you have traveled to Nova Scotia or are traveling this year out to that province. Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you find these shopping videos interesting, please tap that like button. It just allows me to understand what type of puzzling content you enjoy. And now I'm going to probably select one of these puzzles and start working on some puzzling. So until next time, happy puzzling.